Imagine standing on a tightrope, stretched thin between two high cliffs. Below, the abyss waits with immutable patience. Each step is a question, reverberating with uncertainty. What does it mean to be truly good? As you carefully inch forward, you sense that answering this question demands a balance that is more nuanced than it appears. In a world where kindness and goodness are often applauded, why does it seem that those who give the most are frequently unseen? Goodness, to many, is simple, an accumulation of kind acts, a willingness to bend over backward to meet others' needs. Yet, hovering here on this metaphorical tightrope, what seems simple reveals itself as deceptive. Kindness, stripped of authenticity and substance, can swiftly become its own shadow, a dim echo rather than a force of light. Enter Stoicism, a philosophy that views virtue as an expression of strength. The Stoics believed in living in harmony with nature, where virtue wasn't defined by acts alone, but by the courage to embody core values. For Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor renowned for his meditations, true goodness was resolute, not a mere performance of niceties. For Seneca, the moral essays urged a life aligned with reason, where goodness was the fruit of inner strength. This raises the paradox. If kindness leads to invisibility, what fuels genuine respect? Why do the kindest acts sometimes leave those who perform them feeling invisible? The key lies in understanding that goodness isn't about being all things to all people. Virtue requires boundaries and alignment with one's authentic self. When giving begins without restraint, it dilutes the essence of virtue, spreading it so thin that it vanishes. It's the quiet strength, the resolute presence, that compels respect. True kindness, then, is not blind. It does not seek approval through self-effacement. Instead, it holds firm in the face of external expectations. This inner hardness, as portrayed by Stoic luminaries, invites respect rather than neglect. It calls to mind a solid oak tree, unyielding against the storm. Such presence isn't about mere volume or visibility, it's about immovable values. This brings us to Machiavelli, a thinker seemingly at odds with Stoic ideals. Yet his teachings hold a curious lesson. He argued that it is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. But perhaps, when viewed through a Stoic lens, there's truth to be salvaged here. True respect emerges not from a fear of power, but from awe in the face of unshakable principles. It's self-respect that grounds us, not external validation. Consider this in your life stage. Are you the performer, clamoring for applause, or the quiet architect of your own moral realm? In seeking to project goodness, do you stay true to yourself, or do you mirror others' desires, thus losing sight of your own compass? These questions aren't meant to unsettle, but to provoke introspection. What do you hold as your own unmoving pillars of virtue? When you step away from the societal din, what does the silence reveal? And so, as this narrative winds to a close, consider the delicate dance of being seen and unseen, of giving with intention rather than sacrifice. Recognize that the path to true goodness is a personal endeavor, one that isn't always adorned with accolades but resonates with deeper self-assurance. It's a gentle reminder that the darkness of invisibility swiftly recedes when you walk unwavering in your values. Keep these reflections tightly woven around your heart as you navigate your journey forward. The story of kindness, of true goodness, is not just about others. It is a profound meditation on self-awareness, resilience, and the unwavering echoes of a life well lived. In an age where endless connections and constant communications define our very essence, we are compelled to ponder a question. How much of our lives do we shape, and how much are we shaped by what others expect of us? As you journey with me through these reflections, let us explore this timeless narrative where the echoes of ancient wisdom meet the complexities of modern existence. From the earliest moments of consciousness, we are launched into a world alive with expectations. The warmth of acceptance soothes us, while the sting of disapproval can cut deeply, leaving scars that often define behavior well into adulthood. The root of people-pleasing is an intricate web spun from familial affection and societal norms. It lays a foundation where love and validation must be earned by aligning oneself with the desires of others. Imagine a young philosopher in ancient Greece, sitting at the feet of seasoned thinkers, grappling with understanding self-worth through external approval. The message whispered through ages is the same: to belong is to comply. Familial ambitions and societal roles carve out paths that are rarely questioned but often followed, formulating masks that suppress one's voice. The world continues to spin its tale through individuals like Elias, a man whose story could easily be drowned in the ordinary shuffle of daily life, yet stands as a profound testament to the dangers of self-erasure. Raised in an environment where deviation from the norm was whispered about in hushed tones, Elias became a chameleon. Adapting to the colors of every surrounding, he darkened his own shine. His laughter echoed others, opinions mirrored respected thoughts, and dreams slowly dissolved into hazy reflections of what was once an untainted vision. You see, Elias's story is not singular, but shared by many who sacrifice authenticity for acceptance. When the mind distances itself from its genuine desires, a rift forms, leading to an identity merely cobbled together by borrowed pieces. Internalizing such habits becomes instinctual, yet the cost is immeasurable. We are urged to maintain the facade, instructed by generations who feared the loneliness of authenticity more than the comfort of conformity. But what might the Stoics say of this plight? These ancient thinkers, unperturbed by the chaos of external opinion, would advise that true peace comes from within, underlining the essence of maintaining one's truth. They might ask, what are others' opinions but mere whispers in the vast universe? They counsel us to free ourselves from the shackles of illusion, suggesting strength lies not in crowds' acceptance, but in solitary confidence. To reclaim your voice is to embark on a journey of rediscovery, a quest infinitely personal yet universally human. Practical advice springs forth from the wellsprings of this ancient wisdom. Cultivate self-awareness. Listen to the whispers of your own heart. Establishing firm personal boundaries becomes a defiant act of self-love in a world tugging incessantly at your edges. Reflect on your daily interactions. How often do you say yes while yearning to say no? Envision these boundaries not as walls blocking others out, but as the resilience needed to protect your inner sanctum. Let the fireworks of self-realization illuminate that presence is not defined by pleasing everyone, but by staying true to oneself amidst the cacophony. The Stoics spoke of strength achieved through understanding one's nature, imploring us to find courage in authenticity. To stand before the mirror of introspection, unwavering, is to embrace the glorious complexity of human existence. It requires a shedding of old cloaks, rediscovering a voice lost but not forgotten, resonating with the purity that once was. This reclamation promises not just personal liberation, but an enriched connection to others. When interactions emanate from a place of sincerity, they transform into meaningful engagements rather than transactional exchanges. Recognizing one's worth, independent of external validation, invites others to do the same, cultivating a world where authenticity is cherished over compliance. Consider Elias's transformation. Like a caterpillar shedding its restrictive cocoon, he began to venture into realms unexplored, not through mimicry, but through the courageous honesty of self-expression. It was a journey marked by missteps and moments of doubt, but illuminated by the guiding light of inner wisdom. Remember, the landscape of your life is painted by choices nourished in authenticity. One may question, is this pursuit of truth ever fully realized? Perhaps not, but the beauty lies in a relentless pursuit, an enduring dance between expectation and self-determination. As the shadows of doubt whisper against the resolve to stand firm in one's truth, the wisdom of ages past encourages us forward. The philosophical musings handed down remind us that life's greatest masterpiece is painted not by seeking approval, but by daring to embrace the unique spectrum of our identities. May this reflection inspire you to look beyond pleasing and to dare break open the cocoon of conformity. Live your truth, to venture into the unknown parts of yourself without fear, and in doing so, create a symphony of authenticity that resonates through the ages, inviting others to find courage in their journeys too. The story is yours to write. Let each decision be a stroke of brilliance on the canvas of existence. As we journey deeper into our exploration of morality and perception, we encounter the curious case of the illusion of goodness and the undeniable strength rooted in Stoic philosophy. It's a common misconception that aligning oneself with moral principles signifies weakness. Yet, as we peel back the layers of this belief, we find that true goodness requires a formidable strength, one that Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus exemplified through their lives and teachings. Consider the nature of appearance versus essence. In a world often captured by the superficial, it's easy to mistake loud power for true strength and assume that gentleness is synonymous with fragility. But what if the true essence of strength lies in calm resilience and quiet conviction? The Stoics understood that genuine power was not found in dominance over others, but in mastery over oneself. They saw the folly in seeking validation from external judgments, urging instead for an exploration of inner truth. Imagine Seneca walking through the streets of ancient Rome, a city teeming with ambition and deception. Did his pursuit of virtue make him vulnerable? Or did it arm him with the clarity and resilience needed to navigate such a tumultuous environment? Seneca himself pondered the balance between virtue and vigilance, recognizing that goodness did not mean naivety, but rather a conscious choice to rise above the pettiness and cynicism that often cloud human interactions. In our own lives, perception plays a critical role in shaping how we are treated and how we treat others. We don't live in a vacuum. Our actions and appearances inevitably lead to judgments and interpretations by those around us. The Stoics, however, invite us to look beyond this surface level, encouraging a deeper awareness of intention over impression. As we embrace Stoicism, we're called to cultivate both virtue and wisdom. We must be vigilant, discerning when someone seeks to exploit our kindness and knowing when to extend it unwaveringly. But what happens when Stoicism is misunderstood, pigeonholed into an image of unfeeling detachment? This misinterpretation can deter many from embracing its teachings, fearing that emotional resilience equates to emotional unavailability. It is here that the Stoic practice requires real-world application, dispelling myths that it advocates a life devoid of feeling. Stoicism teaches us to regulate our emotions, not suppress them, to engage with the world as full participants rather than passive observers. In practice, how often do we encounter moments where remaining calm is mistaken for indifference, or where showing compassion is perceived as weakness? The Stoic path encourages us to navigate these misunderstandings with grace. We can embrace kindness without sacrificing our boundaries, leading not with lenience, but with understanding. In essence, compassion becomes a strategic form of strength, capable of bridging gaps between perceived vulnerability and actual invincibility. So, how do we maintain virtue in a world that sometimes misconstrues it as gullibility? The answer lies in cultivating a robust inner life and pairing compassion with courage. We might choose to respond to harshness with kindness, not as a passive acceptance of injustice, but as an active affirmation of our values, a testament to the strength within. Imagine standing at the crossroads of compassion and strength, where each path beckons with its unique call. They are not mutually exclusive, but are woven together like strands of the same rope. The Stoic tradition teaches us that to be truly virtuous, we must be fiercely courageous, not letting the fear of misinterpretation divert us from our course. As we navigate the delicate dance between vulnerability and resilience, we begin to craft a personal philosophy that embraces the duality of human experience. By reflecting on these truths, we might ask ourselves, do we possess the courage to stand firm in our virtues, even when misunderstood? Can we see beyond the illusions of power and recognize the quiet strength of humility and integrity? These are not easy questions, nor do they have simple answers. Yet, in seeking them, we step closer to understanding the profound wisdom that the Stoics offer, a wisdom that transcends time and speaks directly to the heart of the human condition. Through this journey, we find ourselves not only strengthened, but awakened, prepared to engage with the world with both compassion and strength, unfazed by the superficial judgments that come our way. In the tapestry of human experience, we often find ourselves drawn into a compelling inquiry. What does it mean to live a good life? This question weaves its way into our daily existence, subtly influencing our decisions and the paths we choose. At its heart, the inquiry touches on how we, as individuals, define virtue and morality. In a world eager for simplicity, there's a perilous tendency to equate goodness with agreeableness. But is a good life truly synonymous with being agreeable? As we venture deeper into this philosophical landscape, we come face to face with a glaring misconception: the idea that to be good is to always be accommodating, yielding in the face of others' desires. This perception paints virtue as a form of compliance, where personal needs are subjugated to maintain harmony. It's a dangerous conflation, leading us to the precipice of self-betrayal and emotional servitude. Consider the numerous times you've bitten your tongue to avoid conflict, believing that self-denial was noble. But when does this self-sacrifice become self-effacement, an erosion of your own identity? To realign our views, let's examine the importance of setting boundaries. Consider Maria, a woman who once danced to the rhythm others set for her, constantly saying yes, habitually bending to the will of those around her. Maria believed her compliance to be an expression of kindness, yet it hollowed her out. Then, resonating with ancient Stoic teachings, she found empowerment. The Stoics, with their emphasis on inner peace and resilience, teach us that boundaries are not walls, but bridges connecting self-respect to authentic living. Maria began to understand that saying no was not a denial of virtue, but an affirmation of her worth. Through her journey, we glean an essential lesson. Silent compliance may smooth waters temporarily, but ultimately, it leads to turbulent seas within. Embrace the wisdom of the Stoics, who remind us that virtue encompasses strength and clarity of self. It beckons us to draw firm lines around our values and protect the sanctuary of our inner peace. If we look closely, we see that real-world validation is ephemeral. Self-respect, however, is an enduring bastion. The question then arises, how do we protect this self-respect without slipping into selfishness? The key lies in intention. When boundaries are set not to exclude, but to honor both self and others, we move closer to true virtue. With the pathway illuminated by Maria's story and Stoic principles, we arrive at a place of resolve, a resolve forged not from rigidity, but from fluid strength. This exploration of virtue leads us to profound insights that living with intention and boundaries fosters an authentic existence. It encourages the pursuit of self-respect over the hollow echoes of unchallenging compliance. And in these choices, we begin the courageous act of reclaiming our voice, our presence, in a world that often urges conformity. So, what comes next? How do we transform philosophical reflection into concrete action? Start by embracing authenticity as your guiding compass. Each decision, each interaction becomes a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your life, shaped by mindfulness and reflection. Secondly, practice gratitude for your inherent strengths and weaknesses alike, for they form the crux of your unique narrative. Engage, too, in continued philosophical exploration. Allow curiosity to lead you deeper into the doctrines of Stoicism and beyond, ever widening your perspective. As you move forward, consider setting aside moments each day to reflect upon your boundaries. Ask yourself, what is essential to my happiness and growth? Where must my lines be drawn to uphold these essential truths? In answering these questions, not with resignation but with conviction, you begin the powerful journey of living not just a good life, but a truly meaningful one. In this shared narrative of exploration, I invite you to heed the call to action, to seek truth, cultivate authenticity, and embrace the remarkable power woven into the very fabric of your being. In doing so, may you continue to navigate the intricacies of existence with wisdom and grace, ever mindful of the profound connection between self-respect and the broader tapestry of human virtue.